everyone, and welcome to the Academy Showcase. So we've got 3 matches before we hand things off to the Monday Night League crew. I'm Julian Time ready to get into the day's action alongside Alberto Crumbs Rengifo. Hello, my friend.
I am so excited. We got Monday Night League, we got the Bud Light League Lounge afterwards, and playoff race begins today.
Certainly does. It is all happening, and despite taking 2 losses, Dignitas still remain in first. They'll face off against second-place Cloud9 Academy later in the day, while Immortals, Golden Guardians, and Evil Geniuses each make pushes for the playoff race. Game 1 there has Immortals looking to distance themselves from the teams tied in 5th as they face off against CLG. Then it's Golden Guardians aiming to do the same versus Evil Geniuses. And with that battle at the top of the standings as Dignitas Academy opposite Cloud9 Academy to wrap up the Academy week. Said it already, Crumbs, that match should be a doozy.
Yeah, it really should be. I mean, Dignitas was a team that looked to be the absolute greatest Academy team of all time almost. All LCS players suddenly takes 2 hard losses, and now we're thinking, did everybody get better, or is this team not as good as we initially thought?
I guess we'll find out later, but it's time for game 1. CLG and IMT will be doing battle. IMT, Crumbs, they've been struggling in recent weeks despite such a good start to the season.
It was a little rough for them. They were experimenting a lot with their draft. It's one of the things that they talk about a lot, where they're not shy from picking new champions, but that can also bite you back because now you haven't committed to a specific style. You've been all over the place, which makes it difficult when every other team has already crystallized their play style.
Well, it's going to be right into the action. We'll see if CLG can maybe make some things happen. They have also been struggling. Certainly important to highlight that CLG have had a rough season, to say the least. But if we are going to look anywhere, it's definitely going to be the top lane because Deus has been the player that looks like he may be able to carry CLG over the line. And he's playing one of the spiciest top laners in the league in Alorum. And yes, that is Alorum's Yorick, counterpicking Deus's GP.
He was talking about this one non-stop, saying that he will always look to counterpick Gangplank with the Yorick. I get a feeling that CLG was not watching the last Academy showcase because...
That's true, it just gave strategy away.
Alorum said exactly what he was going to do against this pick. He loves this champion because late game, Gangplank just cannot do anything about Alorum. Doesn't matter how fast you are, you can't hop over the cage.
Yeah, actually pretty interesting draft. I think the bans for me are maybe the most interesting thing. Just a ton of the very strong champions taken away. Ornn, Yuumi, lots of junglers taken out of the pool. Senna's not here, Aphelios isn't here. So this is one of the more like different drafts that we've seen in recent memory because basically every team has decided they don't want to play against all those top champions.
And I kind of like that because we've been seeing these champions everywhere in every single league, almost always first picked. And the Senna experiment, gone from AD to support, is one that I think I've had my fair share of. She's so strong now, and back to the old school Misfortune bars. Just give me the regular damage dealing marksman and I'm happy.
Of note, also, Altec is still in this week for IMT Academy, as Apollo has been playing with the main team on LCS. We'll see Fragus there starts to zip through the jungle on the Olaf. He has certainly been pretty inconsistent as a player so far this season, despite the promise he had when he was previously playing on 100 Thieves Academy, maybe 2 splits ago at this point.
You can actually kind of mediate that inconsistency by giving him a champion like Olaf. In the early game, your path is already predetermined. You're full clearing the jungle, then you're basing or looking for some action. So these decisions of going for a level 2 cheese or a level 3 that can always make your team look coin flippy if they don't go well, you don't have to make them when you're playing a champion like Olaf. So CLG should be more stable here than in the previous games.
I guess the last fun note is actually here in mid lane. This Zoe was the first pick overall in this draft. Going over to Tuesday there, as CLG did want to take it, but IMT solo laners have been ready with counter picks all season long, and Ziggs is something we did actually see Froggen pull out in the LCS, although Dignitas did not win that game. But it's curious to see players maybe going back to this champion as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've got mixed feelings about Ziggs right now because the champion obviously does a ton of damage, but you're Ziggs, right? You're supposed to be stalling out the game, and the mid lane role is not about that right now. The mid lane role is not so much about providing damage and stalling, but snowballing and assisting your team. And so the global ultimate does play into that. But compared to what a champion like Zoe does and the ability to collapse with your jungler or influence a side lane for a dive, I feel like Ziggs is a tier below.
Yeah, definitely be watching to see if he can get value out of his W on the towers. We've seen how teams have heavily prioritized turret plates, especially with the Rift Heralds working a little differently now. So certainly see if that makes an effect at all. Gragas did find Potluck there in the jungle. As expected, Olaf is currently ahead of Gragas as far as the early farming goes, so was able to force him off to Scuttlecrab with the level lead he currently has.
And you can see that Fragus, he's just walking up and down the river now. He's looking for a gank, but he was spotted by that ward at the ramp. This is time that you want to see the Olaf utilized effectively, and right now, it feels like he's just wasting time. You know that Gragas started on the blue side from a leash, so walking up and down river and then recalling there would have been time that could have been used in your own jungle now that Gromp and Wolves have spawned.
Yeah, looks like camps are coming back up, so I don't think either jungle will waste too much time here, as Gragas already with the recall has picked up his Smite upgrade. Potluck though continuing to jungle up here on the top half.
Look at the items in the top lane. They use a little highlight function.
Oh, goodness.
Look at that.
I know where it's for.
Versus Cole. No one's looking to fight this lane early. They're all looking to scale, which I think Alorum is happy with that. He was talking about this matchup, saying that late game Gangplank dies in 2 seconds to Yorick.
Maybe right now, actually, as the Potluck is roaming up for a gank. Deus trapped in the cave. Can't orange out of that one. And that will force the flash out.
Big wave there from Deuce, and if Potluck sticks around, they could go back to punish this Gangplank big time. Let's see if Olaf thinks about helping his top laner out or just leaves him out to dry. It looks like he is left out to dry.
And right now, Alorum just going to hang out and try and keep the wave in this spot, but Deus is, you know, this is dangerous to approach. So, although he does have some vision, so I think feels pretty comfy.
It's so dangerous. It actually is a crazy time for the Gangplank, because Gragas could have just waited at the Tri-Brush and gone for a repeat instead of going for the Raptor camp. So these are opportunities that Immortals is saying, you know what, we're not going to go for it because we have faith in the Yorick scaling, so we don't need to commit to something early that might backfire. And it's the red side comfort that you get from that last pick.
Actually, as a result of kind of just being Olaf, CLGA actually do a very fast first strike as Gragas claims the mountain with a bit of extra help from Phil. So Potluck just showing himself once in the top lane was enough for CLG to take that Drake.
It's almost like playing against Nunu. You know that they want to go for the objective almost always, and the second that you commit to another part of the map, they'll just take the objective right from under you. So Gragas will need to continue this if CLG want to have a fighting chance, because you're going to get split pushed to death. You're on the timer here.
As we're here in the bottom lane, it is, I think, a good time to talk about wins here for CLG, the other newest member, I suppose, although a lot of this CLG team is different. Did come over from Korea with Deus. Is, I believe, the first Korean import in Academy as well. And Wind has kind of been lukewarm, like a lot of CLG. Again, the record is not great.
It's so hard to look good on CLG.
It is tough to blame individual players, but so far so good in this laning phase up against Altec, who has very recently been up in the LCS. So with the Varus here, making things pretty easy as far as the early lane pressure goes.
I'm glad you brought up Wind, because he's playing at an orthodox bot lane Varus, but he's going with the poke. So rushing what could likely be the Edge of Night. I think that's what makes the most sense for defensive tools, but no mana here, so he will have to be very intelligent with the mana management up against someone like a Meph that just spams the wave against you.
Yeah, it does have Comet as well, so certainly leaning more into that poking style than auto attacks.
That's the giveaway, right? When he goes Comet instead of Lethal Tempo being such a powerful move, and it makes some sense here against Immortals' lineup. You're not going to be fighting Alorum. There's no way you're in range of auto-attacking Ziggs, so if you can just get your damage before they look at you, you've outranged the poke.
Just didn't want to play Ezreal, I guess, today. You know, we've seen a lot of Ezreal Zoe.
Yeah.
Kind of building pokes together. You know, this is just the more aggressive version.
Yeah, why didn't you play Ezreal Win?
You want to win lane!
It's a good lane, yeah, it's a good lane with the top catch. Get engaged.
All right. Feeling we're getting aggressive. Nice ulti hook, not going to connect, and Altec off he goes. Safety of the Dark Passage does get him out without having to expend his flash, but his heal was not so lucky.
Yeah, ult for a heal, so Immortals will feel the pressure from the Olaf, but they're already getting something in the top side of the map, so you can't be too bothered by that one. You're not in range of dying to any dive anytime soon, so it'll just be a casual laning phase here as First Blood continues to elude them.
Pretty decisive moves from both junglers, though. Both times junglers have been spotted on the opposite side of the map. The corresponding objective has been taken as Potluck does finish off the Rift Herald. Phil is apparently looking for a can of minions to donate over and fuck his relic. Does do so there as Tuesday is getting things shoved out here in mid, although Insanity always wants to play just about any champion that wasn't in meta. Doing pretty well here on the Ziggs so far, up almost away.
When you can get away with playing whatever you want, you're going to have a fun time. It's always more satisfying to just pick a new champion and try to make it work on the fly than playing your recurse strategy over and over, especially for these players that have been around for so long. You know, you're playing, say, jungle and 5 years of Sejuani versus here's your Nocturne game. Like, oh, I'm going to savor this.
Yeah, it is interesting to see, again, both Insanity and Alorum as veterans of the Academy scene at this point. You know, in some ways, this is a league where you want to stand out. You're looking up to the LCS to try and find a spot there, and one way to stand out is to play unconventional champions.
Big time, and standing out proves that you can actually get promoted. I mean, we have seen just this week, Altec is now here with Apollo moving up, and you have Tactical who had to replace Doublelift, so it's not like the teams are shy about using the Academy for the LCS team. It's when it makes sense and when the player stands out as somebody worth a shot.
It's one of those things where, you know, Tactical talked about it when we interviewed him, just, you know, did not expect at all to play. But when you get the call, you were playing in the LCS, you don't say no.
Yeah.
You say, hell yes. Let me see what I can do in 2.5 days worth of practice.
If you don't feel ready, you don't tell them you're not ready. You just say, I'll be there. I'll do it. Whatever you want.
All right, well, right now it is EPO to the top lane to try and delay this Rift Herald push. They're still up here as well to try and contest the wave, but it doesn't look like it's something you can get done. And oh, using the Ziggs very nicely. Executes the turret almost instantly. That was really cool.
Right, that changes everything. You know, for like 5 weeks, we've been talking about using the Rift Herald at the end of the plate. Turns out when you've got Ziggs, the execution on the satchel will do the job right there for you. So you can pop that Rift Herald whenever you want, as long as Insanity is there with you.
Actually enough to also get a big chunk of damage done to the secondary tower as well. So very successful combination of the Rift Herald plus the Ziggs there from IMT. Drake number 2 though does go over to CLG as a result. It was an Ocean, and that now the Rift will be Infernal.
Yeah, successful top lane turret, yet now you are on a very early timer for what could be an Infernal Soul. So Immortals will need to have the power to fight within the next 5 minutes. If they give up this next dragon, they are in a world of trouble, because you would have to win 3 fights in a row to deny the Infernal Soul of a comp that is poke. You don't want to give a poke comp Infernal. It's the best dragon for them.
And you can see Insanity actually just poking away here as the Luden's already done, so pretty successfully navigating the lane versus Tuesday, where I imagine he'll want to just leave as much as he can, although maybe thinking about doing some damage here to mid as Comet procs back and forth.
This is where Ziggs really starts to get going, when he can just clear the back wave in 1 Q. He doesn't actually have to appear in the lane to clear the minion wave, which makes Zoe's job of harassing him down and having pressure and being able to roam near impossible. You're not even capable of hitting any skill shots on Ziggs because of his range.
It's like a little, you know, equation of efficiency, you know? At what point does the damage you do versus the mana you have to spend become valuable for you?
Yes.
And at this point, with the Ludens, Insanity has certainly hit at least that first breakpoint. So
exactly. Completed item is that breakpoint, and it's a pretty big advantage over the Zoe, who has yet to base as she has rushed Merc Treads. And first of all, why? Now that I'm thinking about it, why did you rush Merc Treads in Tuesday?
he's afraid of
Gragas is the strongest CC there. If you get hit by a Thresh Hook, I think that's your fault.
I mean, yeah, that it is interesting. I mean, part of it is, I think, just wanting to save off some of the poke damage. But in general, Merctread's MR is not that efficient versus the tenacity it gives you, which is where the real value lies.
Yeah, on poke champions, I would imagine you want to maximize the damage. But hey, if his playstyle involves getting in the mix and really just putting the hurt to the support jungle, then I understand why he went for the purchase. It's just a matter of seeing the playstyle mirror the build.
Well, so they have to see what CLG can get done, because so far it's been IMT that's dictated this laning phase. Gold difference is not bad. It's 1,000 or so up for Immortals Academy, but you can still see Deus is working on that first item. In fact, he and Alorum are having a friendly race to Trinity Force, but Deus is losing thanks to the Rift Herald and the Ziggs. In fact, Demolish will proc and give a second tower over to the top side of the map.
No one's helped out this Gangplank. They've left him on an island the entire time. I mean, it might be what Pirates want, but at some point he needs to come to land and help these team fights.
Raga's going to finish off his red. He's been pretty aggressively farming at this stage of the game. Tuesday with the Redemption picked up, but seems like he's continuing to get poked down by Ziggs, who is going to go back and finish those Sork Shoes as the free boots from the runes did kick in as well.
Yeah, this is good for Immortals. Their items are coming in right before the dragon spawns, what we wanted to see 4 minutes ago. And now it's all about the positioning. They're going to start to think about what setup do you want to have for this Infernal. And when you're playing against Poke, you don't want to be doing the dragon first. You don't want to get inside an area that they can just land all their skill shots. You just want to control the entrance first and then confirm that they're not going to contest against you. Then you commit to the objective. So we'll see if Immortals does that, or if they just use Potluck for a fat engagement. Screw it all together.
Might have to do it now as well, because there is time for Immortals to maybe take that second Rift Herald that spawned. We already saw how much work they could do with the Ziggs. It would be probably a very easy break on the mid-outer tower, which is normally quite difficult given the current state of champions being played in mid. And Immortals, they'll shove back out mid, they'll move their vision back over, and 5 people here to take this second Herald, and they should have more than enough time to race back over to the Drake as well.
Yeah, Immortals saying we want both the objectives, committing to the Herald, and CLG gives up the Herald, but in exchange they're securing the deep vision around the blue side. They've gotten a turret too, so they'll even that trade out, but it's a matter of what this vision will allow the dragon fight to look like, because if it doesn't catch anybody out, it doesn't really count.
Oh, Potluck trying to make a play onto Tuesday. Does get a good amount of damage done, but now he's got to run out of there and can't really run through the bubble. Will fall down, and Zoe that gets the first blood, and Shelly's still working on the tower. Will take it down as Potluck from the death realm will pick up credit for the tower kill.
Yeah, it felt like he was on his own page there. Nobody else got the memo. Gragas goes in to try to get the Zoe. Maybe Gate would have been able to follow up with a hook, but that crazy over-aggression from the jungler now is an easy dragon for CLG. I mean, they were so primed to take this fight, but got a little bit too ahead of themselves. A play got dangled in front of them, like, oh, this is the play we should do.
This all looks good.
Yeah, except that. The Gangplank does a really good job of zoning it. Normally, you just see the Herald pop, and then you just drift over into the Dragon, let the Herald charge. You're not concerned about the gold. Plates are already down, so Immortals is now at a dangerously early soul point before 23 minutes.
Yeah, CLG with his quick 3 Drakes, and the gold is actually even despite the turret advantage firmly in the side of the team that took 2 Heralds and has a Ziggs. CLG, again, if their plan is to kind of sit back and maybe get the Gangplank to farm up a bit more, then that particular plan is going well, especially if they wanted to play off the Drakes.
I can't imagine their Gangplank is their win condition. It got counterpicked. So it should get worse as the game progresses.
Gangplank's always a win condition.
He is, but he has to be so good too. And it's just been so long since we've seen Yorick against Gangplank, it's hard to remember what that pain looks like. And when the Maiden comes out, I mean, Spirit Maidens are a Pirate's worst sniper.
All right, well, this is very unfair. It's 1v3 right now as Potluck picks up the kill, and Lantern's out to safety. Phil is down here with the ulti, but not in time to save his top laner, who I guess I shouldn't have said anything, Crumbs, because things are going from bad to worse for Deus.
Yeah, now he doesn't have Flash, and he's going to be up against Alorum with his own, so he can have complete agency in whether a fight happens or not. This poor Gangplank, at least he's got the extra gold from his parlay, but not much else going on for him.
Not enough to make up the current 1,000 gold differential between the 2 top laners. Alorum actually 30 CS ahead. And going to look to demolish down a few more turrets as well. Again, getting so much value out of that Keystone. And with a bit of help from Gate and the Maiden, Yorick able to knock down Immortals' 4th tower of this game.
So they thought they had recalled, and then the hook comes out, I bet. Is it a hook or the play? Nice. Always good when you open up the hook. So unexpected.
Again, it's too late to answer the rest of it. Fracus was right there as well, and just not close enough to try and help that fight sooner. So Deus does fall. As a reminder though, after this, at 5 PM PST, Monday Night League will be kicking off with 2 LCS games, followed by the Bud Light League Lounge.
Ooh. It'll be my first time on the PLL.
Oh, nice. Well, there you go. That's a bit of a spoiler for you all. You can check out Crumbs.
BLL or the MNL.
Alright, well, it looks like the only tower that CLG have is that bottom outer that we saw Wind take earlier. So, Alorum, who has currently reallocated his resources to that lane, will have a bit of a longer wait to try and push that down, but it does seem like the game plan for Immortals is staying pretty squarely intact.
It feels like a stalemate, but it's because both teams feel like their win conditions are being actualized. So they don't feel like they need to be going for anything. CLG is about to get their 4th and final Dragon Soul, so that would be a win condition for them as a poke composition. And Immortals has Yorick into Gangplank. This is why they selected last pick, and the Yorick is winning. So both teams don't have a necessity to go 4v4, which ends up with a 1-1 scoreline. And if you took the nameplates off, you could think this is an LCK game.
It's true, they've been quite slow recently, but I imagine IMTA will have to contest for these next 4 Drakes. You're basically required, let's say, to fight for that soul. Wind is going to zip over to the blue buff real quick with the Ghost Blade that he has finished alongside his Edge of Night.
I love that you say it's required to fight for that soul, because one of the things that always happens is you have that play in mind that you have to go for it, but then 45 seconds before it, you feel like there could be another play being made, and so you go for it, and the fight lasts 30 seconds, and somehow now you're late for the original plan. You got carried away, and you can give up objectives like that. That's what we just saw Immortals do on the 3rd Dragon.
Yeah, Immortals, I think, actually in decent position this time around. Alorum is just rampaging in the side lanes, forcing a big wave here that Deus will clear with the barrel, but continuing to apply pressure. Now going to rotate himself over if he wants to. There's a 4v4 for either team if they want to start it, but the vision is in favor of CLG right now.
CLG have double blue buffs on their poke champions too. This is so good for them as long as the poke connects, and that bubble could be big.
As Tuesday, but doesn't follow up. Instead, it's quick Drake attempt here for CLG. And Immortals just don't want to face check the Zoe. They're going to give up the soul here.
Do they know dragons are a thing in this game?
You know what? I believe they do, but I understand your comment because this has been a very polarizing game. Basically, the teams have taken what we've seen in the early games, which is trade Drake for Herald and then hope your gold lead beats out the Drake lead.
Yeah.
But just take it to the logical extreme, where both teams are just splitting the map in half and ignoring the other one's objective.
You take dragons, we'll take gold, deal.
I mean, I guess, you know, if CLG were playing fair, they would also give Barons over, because that's in the area.
Yeah.
Don't think that's going to happen.
All right, CLG, play fair. Immortals believes that you need to give up the Baron. And, you know, if you're willing to give up a Dragon Soul that easily, why not?
You know, I'm curious to see how this shakes out, because again, that gold has stayed pretty close between the two sides. Immortals up a little under 2,000 gold.
I think it'll go better for Immortals. Even though they lost the soul, it shouldn't have a big impact on the 1v1 matchup between Alorum and Deus. And you have Ziggs, Gragas, and Meph to stall out mid forever. It is so hard to take down a turret against Ziggs, and you can see why his turret is at not even half HP. It's because his wave clear is so obnoxious.
Wind, Tuesday, Phil, and Fragus are all going to try and do some damage here to the mid outer tower, because that is blocking a lot of the potential avenues that CLG would have into opening up the map more, but that does also make the objective we mentioned, Baron, even more important, as Deus is continuing to get harassed by Alorum, with a gate in the back pocket as well, just to make sure.
Yeah, that's another flash from Deus. It wasn't punished last time, where Thresh secured the kill, but Now that Alorm has his Stair X gauge completed, I think he has enough power to tower dive when the Maiden comes back up.
Alorm just still not going to leave here. To be fair, the Infernal Soul is helping Deus out a little bit with the farming. Little Infernal splash damage is helping him clear the waves out a little bit faster, but still woefully behind in CS as far as the 1v1 goes. And this is easily the fastest Elder Dragon I've seen so far this season. Like, I don't know what the actual numbers are, but at least from games that I've seen, this has to be one of, if not the fastest.
Absolutely. Sub 30 Elder, and we gotta see a fight for it though, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
we probably should. I know it's only 1-1 at this point.
Good bubble. Tuesday, one shot. Yep, that's it. Electrocute procs.
Wow.
You can see where they first pick Zoe.
Yeah, and they're not the only team that's first picking Zoe right now. The Barons will be started, and Kate's not here. The guy with most control words is not here.
Yep, as noted, CLG are blatantly ignoring the arbitrary rules we set out for them, but understandably wanting to try and, you know, take the advantage they have, which is this Infernal Soul, and parlay it into a winning fight, and Sandy gonna get popped as well. Will be forced to cleanse out.
This is risky. Gragas and Potluck have enough burst to steal.
Good off from Win, but Fragus is low now. Kate gonna get blown up, but Potluck, he's the real target. He's gonna dive in, he's gonna try and steal it away, but Fragus does find the smite. Potluck will die, Fragus will fall as well. And it's a bit of a messy one, but Tuesday's gonna find the secondary bubble, and Phil's gonna lie in wait as the paddling happens. That's a shutdown. As Tuesday gonna grab almost every member of IMT.
And this has been a great game for Tuesday now, zoning so well. 3-0-2 on the Zoe, and it's really putting a dent in this pick, I think across the globe, because Academy seems to have caught into this pick faster than the LCS, and it's putting out results to warrant that first.
Yeah, Zoe definitely fairly prevalent, but it's funny, you know, we talk about Yasui, a player we had pretty high expectations of coming into the split, and he said that he's kind of been struggling to find his groove. Well, he found it on Zoe because the champion's fairly strong, and this may be potential rides to seal these mid laners. Let's watch this again. I mean,
beautiful ult. I'm so surprised that Immortals did not get that Baron. They had way more burst than CLG, yet it was just a casual steal out of Fragus. The player that has been quote-unquote underperforming has secured most of the major objectives for CLG.
And now, despite the kills more than tripling, yep, Matt's touch. It is though, I did quickly double check. With the Baron for CLG knocking down another tower, they're now taking the lead in gold, and they already have the 4 Drakes, including the Soul, which is not reflected in the overall gold lead. So
it'd be so good for the organization if their Academy team and LCS team finds wins this week, lift them out of the 1-win club that they have
not a good club.
Started and only occupied.
Well, maybe they can leave it with 0 teams left. Immortals kind of continuing their struggles. Both in Academy and in the LCS. Although Alorm is not going home without a fight. He's broken an inhibitor before CLG have, and CLG have Baron.
And Infernal Soul as well.
That's a work ethic I can respect.
Yeah, it's been a while when that Infernal Soul. Also like Gangplank used the ult onto the Yorick. Here comes the 1v1.
Oh, it's just going, oh, Tuesday. It's not a 1v1 at all. Zoe zooming in, and that's going to shut Alorm off from what was going to be a 1v1 solo kill.
He was really excited about that. He's like, I was waiting all game for this. Our fair 1v1.
It's never a fair 1v1, and Elder Dragon's now up as well. 3 seconds it will spawn. It will be a 5v4 for CLG. For 30 seconds, it's more than enough time to take the Elder Dragon, which Immortals just cannot get near at this point.
No, they are just stuck on way to their duty. No one on their team is set to take a fight against CLG. I mean, it's not even close. Potluck cannot get in for an engage. He is AP Gragas. You get hit by a Varus Q or a Zoe Q, you are pretty much out of the fight right away. So they have to sit back and wave clear, hoping that Alorm finds a win. It's kind of an over-indexing on the split pusher and not enough on the 4 men that are left.
I mean, at this point, you get hit by a Zoe Q, you might just die.
That was a Q from Varus.
With the Infernal Soul. And yep, there it is. The Infernal Soul ticks down. The Elder Dragon execute happens. And this is a dream for the poke comp from.
Oh my god, it's Soul and Elder.
You just burn down slowly and die!
Okay, can he one-shot Insanity? He needs to use the Blighted Quiver.
I'm very afraid for Potluck. He's okay. He did have to burn his Zhonya's though. So will not be so lucky when it comes back around again. CLG already taken one in here. They're going to look for two here pretty quickly. Altec still dead from earlier. Yeah, he better get out of there. Insanity. He hops away from Tuesday's incoming bubble. But CLG just waltz into the enemy base and take out two inhibitors.
And I like that they're pretty reserved with their poke, actually, because if you throw it and miss it, it's a window for the enemy to engage against you. But if you just hold it, they're always worried about getting hit by it, so they're gonna sit back and not look for the engage. So you get the objective real quickly, and that's been the name of the game for CLG. Objective focus, while Immortals has been looking into a Yorick lane. Turns out playing the map is the better way of playing the game.
I mean, I didn't mind all the trades early on, but again, like the teams just were so fixated on the objectives they wanted. And it feels like CLG won that trade deal. Out the Dragon! Broken left and right. That's going to be a kill into Insanity, and Altec lucky to be alive. But CLG going to make it 3 inhibitors. As Super Minions continue to swarm down in towards their Nexus, as Alorum is still trying to win this game in the sideline. I mean, it looks silly, but this is his only play at this point.
The dream is that Immortals has a godly defense and that Yorick just ends the game here.
Scene 1, back to already goodbye Altec! Zoe just popping people with this very quick death cap, and the towers are going to fall down. It seems like Immortals base will crumble as well. Alorum just cannot get it done as CLG will take their second Nexus of the season.
That is a really good feel-good win for CLG here. I think that Bragas had a great redemption game as well. So focused on objectives, the pick made sense, and the Gangplank did his own. Held his own against Yorick. Didn't even die single 1v1.
Yep.
It's exactly what you want out of your safe lane, top lane.
It's definitely the inverse of the success we have seen from CLG, right? We're talking about Deus and how good he's looked on these carry champions. He got counterpicked and straight up blasted by Alorum in the 1v1, which was expected, given that it was Alorum's counterpick. But yeah, the two underperforming members that we maybe expected to do better, Tuesday and Fragus, having a much better game. When we return, we'll break down that game, but don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We have a breakdown of the last game we just saw. It was an interesting one, Crumbs. Let's put it that way.
You can say that again. It was interesting because CLG got every single objective, and it felt like it wasn't even contested by Immortals, which resulted in a 24-minute Infernal Soul, as well as a sub-30 Elder.
Well, again, this was actually the first blood of the game. Tuesday just dancing around Potluck, who kind of on an ill-advised dive after they were trying to take the mid with the Rift Herald, which was a good play.
And this is another good play out of CLG, particularly when with that ultimate, it's chained with the Gangplank ultimate, the Zoe poke, and Zoe turns out to be a pretty big hero here as Gragas and Ziggs attempt to steal the Baron, but against all odds, Olaf gets it in the end.
And nice timing here as well from Tuesday. Paddling Insanity down.
Oh, this is my favorite play of the game.
Barris Q, see ya.
Comet, Lick into Elder. Wow!
It's coming, we promise. There we go. Wow. Like snipe through the tower.
The little dragon appears on top of him.
And then the final push of the game here for CLG. I mean, at this point, with 4 Drakes straight in a row, Baron and I think it was the Elder Dragon at this point as well. CLG just pretty literally walking in here and finishing off the base.
Yeah, and I think I like what I'm seeing out of Win with the poke Varus. It's a direction that I think Varuses can go more often than we see. I think too much of a commitment to the lethal tempo, and we see the power that the poke Varus can do. You don't even need to go tier. If you get your blue buffs, you can be just as impactful. In fact, a little bit more too, because you have that lethality early on.
And again, you can see the 2 poke champions, Zoe and Varus, doing a pretty hefty amount of the damage. But for a long time, this game was quite close. In fact, Immortals favored by a few thousand gold. But what you should probably pay the most attention to is the dragons in the bottom left of your screen, because CLG took 2 and like, oh, okay, like Immortals were doing cool things with trading and the Rift Herald and the Ziggs, and then the other 2 went by and I forgot what happened.
I was looking at that one too, as well as the damage from both the junglers there. 1.6 and 2.4 is an outrageously low number for both of them.
Yeah, it doesn't track objective damage. So it's hitting objectives.
It's like, count my Baron damage. It'll go through the roof that way.
Towers, farming, getting heralds. It was both teams, I think, very clearly like sticking to the objectives they had set for themselves for that game.
Yeah, like 2 game plans.
To the bitter end.
Right. Too inflexible, I think. They needed to be a little bit more mindful of what the opponents were trying to do and incorporate it in their own win condition.
Yeah, have to agree. We're stepping away though, but when we return, EG Academy and GG Academy will be squaring off.